Welcome, dear friends, to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast hosted by three gentlemen for whom the very wheel itself bends around. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Bill, Rob, and Rich.
Hello, Yonder Wanderer listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Taviren podcast. Am I saying that right now?
I think you are. I've heard you say it casually, and you've nailed it a couple times.
Ah, excellent. That's good. That's good to know. So, let's say, should we do a quick hello and say who we are? Because I'm Bill.
Bill?
I'm your very attractive, super cool UK host.
I'm Rob, your slightly less attractive US host.
And guess what?
What's
we
that?
have a third host today. It's
Three? Rich, is that you? You're awake?
I'm awake.
Is it still dark out?
Huh?
It's still dark out?
No, it's light. I'm flipping off the sun, but it's cool.
Rob, it's actually a bot that I've made.
Russian Rich bot. Got it.
This is Russian Rich, everybody. Say hello, Russian Rich.
Hello.
Hello. This is Billbot 5000. Welcome to the wheel. The wheel of what? Who knows? I need a wheel. What's the wheel?
What's the wheel?
I'm losing the will to live.
We completed the circle. This is our first episode where we have a full roster. So hopefully we can bring you quality podcasting now that we have all three of us.
Yes, indeed. And to iterate as well, now that we're here with Rich, we need to be careful, Rob.
Yes.
We can't do too much spoilering of later stuff in the books.
So we can't tell Rich about the dinosaurs?
I can't tell Rich about the dinosaurs. Or
No.
you know that
I've read this book. This one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, but me and Rich will, me and Rob occasionally foreshadow stuff from the future books.
Whatever.
You know, like that one where Moraine stars in that film called Gone Girl.
Highly recommend that film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
For no reason yet. For random reasons. Go watch Gone Girl.
We'll get to that in a bit. But yes, hello and welcome to the Taviren podcast, a podcast where we talk about really old books by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. When was the first book released? Any idea?
90?
90?
Potentially?
I want to say 80.
Well, he started writing in the early 80s. So I remember I had to make sure I looked this up because he started writing his books before Martin started writing A Song of Ice and Fire, so that we can all agree that Wheel of Time comes first.
Yes, indeed.
Usually do. So, Rich, how far into the actual series have you gotten so far?
I'm in the third book.
Okay.
Dragon Reborn. That's a good one.
Yes.
Because I think my favourite books are I'd probably say my top three are going to be Great Hunt, which is book 2, Knife of Dreams, which I think is book 11 or 10, and then Memory of Light, because Mother of God.
I hadn't really taken the time to rank the books per se. I might do that now that we're doing this, but I can tell you that Memory of Light's going to be in the top 3 definitely.
Yeah, Memory of Light. So that's the last book, Rich. That's just, oh my God. Well, you've read the Mistborn series, haven't you, Rich? You know what you're going to be intended for. It was after Harriet McDougal, which is Robert Jordan's widow. It was after she'd read the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson that she was just like, this is the guy I want to finish the Wheel of Time.
Oh, good. Okay. I love that man.
Yeah, I love that man. I love Brandon.
Which we talked about that too, doing Mistborn or Cosmere podcast.
Hey, maybe one day.
I wanted to choke that.
Yes, because so what Rich is referring to is last week Rob said, "Shall we add the Discord to the Golden Years Discord, which is one me and Rich have running for our other podcast?" And I was just like, "No, let's not worry about Discord yet." And then a day later, I set up a Discord server.
Yep, that's your MO. Let's not do it. Oh wait, did it already.
Sorry, Rich. Bill Fusiasm took me. Rich knows all about Bill Fusiasm. It's how he gets straight into all these things.
Yep.
Yep, it's how Rich loses an hour of sleep every day.
That's okay. I'm here.
So, guys, we have a Discord server. jump on. There'll be a link below. Yes,
Click the link below.
I'll add a link into the description below, and yeah, come and join us. It's fairly quiet at the moment. We've got a couple of people who have joined us from other Wheel of Time servers who seem really intrigued. Miggins, is it? But yeah, Miggins. We have a couple of things on there just to warn you. So there's a big open section where you can discuss each of the books individually. So if you are reading one of the books, you can go in there and talk about it. But that's open to everyone. But I have put a spoiler warning at the top just in case someone does mention something ahead of where you are. So be warned of spoilers in that section. But we do also have an open spoiler zone. So if you join and you want access to the big spoilers talk, which is currently just me on my own.
Normally.
But if you want to talk about, stuff at the end of the book, maybe stuff that Rand and other people do at the ends of the books, I can't say anything without giving stuff away. So I'm not going to say anything. But if you want access to talk about that stuff, let us know, and we'll give you access to the One Power, which will give you access to the spoilers. Otherwise, if you don't want access to the spoilers, you will be given the AO class, and you will be enslaved as Gaishan.
Very, very creative by you there, sir.
I know, I kind of like that. And I like the fact that so far, most of the people who have got the Gaishan role don't actually understand what it is yet. So when we get to like books 6 and 7, and they're like, hey!
Wait a second.
Wait a second. What's this?
You know what the best part about having all three of us together is?
That I'm here.
That, well, of course you're here, but we can have non-context spoiler conversations. So, like this. Hey, Rich.
What?
Can you go get me a Bellfounder?
I have no idea what the hell that is.
Well, yeah, you tried that joke on me, and like I've read all the books, and I still don't understand what it is.
Just go get me. Rich, just go get me a Bellfounder, big boy. All right. You'll figure that one out in time.
Rob, can I have some Balefire, please?
Yes, here, take some. Caution, the contest may be hot.
I'm going to use it on the joke. I'm going to use it on the joke you just made.
I know.
Anyway, sorry, Rich.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for leading me out to dry. Appreciate it. Buddy.
So, should we give another warning on our double up episodes?
Yeah, we have one coming in a couple of weeks, I believe, right?
Yes. So, what are we today? We're chapter 8 today, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Chapter 8.
Cool. Because yeah, unfortunately, the Wheel of Time bug's got me now, Rob. I'm on like chapter 12.
I'm reading through 14 right now.
Oh, I just couldn't help it. I just like, especially after chapter 8, I was just like, oh my god, I've got to hear what happens next. And I know. I'm particularly intrigued to see which reading of Rob you've picked for chapter 9.
I
assume you're not going to do the big speech that almost brought me to tears.
Oh no, my throat would make it through that.
I may have to do something of that and like have it as like bonus content.
Oh,
because man, I forgot that was there, and when it starts as well, like obviously we'll get more into this next week, but when it started, I was a bit like, oh man, what's happening here? Like this is going to be a big, long, and boring thing. And then by the end of it, I could actually feel myself welling up inside. I was like, oh my god,
you
heartless bastards!
I know. You have no clue.
Oh man, yeah, so good. So have you read chapter 9 yet, Rich?
No. Well, I mean, I have. I read the book already.
Oh yeah, but you won't remember what's in which chapter and stuff. But yeah, man, yeah, Tellings of the Wheel, the next chapter. Oh my god.
Good stuff.
Oh, there's some good stuff in that. That's where you're just like, oh yeah, this is the book series for me. So this week chapter 8, next week chapter 9. After that, we're going to be doubling up chapters 10 and 11 together. So again, we'll warn you next week, guys, but you will need to read both those chapters at the same time, just because one of them's fairly short and the other one's medium size. So we'll bung them together so that we don't end up doing like we did the other week, where it was just like Rand walks through the woods and he gets to the town.
That was my favorite episode.
Yeah, I know.
You were on it.
I know.
Hey, I did that episode, didn't I get so confused because I edit all the episodes. I just assume I'm on all of them.
Oh wait, no,
in case you edit yourself in. Pop it. Hello.
Hello.
Bill still exists. Okay.
Rand's wandering through the woods. Right. So, Rob, do you want to give us an update on your media campaign for the podcast?
Well, I noticed that, I guess because this is my first time doing this kind of stuff, that we get a breakdown of where our pods are heard. So, take it with a grain of salt. I'm sure that half of these are related to our Russian Rich bot, but we're heard in apparently over 40 different countries, which just blew my mind.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I know. And we've almost completed the set. We've been heard in 47 of the 50 U.S. states.
Hey.
So, I know. So, South Dakota, I'd expect as much from you, but Maine and Vermont, you're letting me down.
Wait, all 47 states out of 50?
Correct. So, Rich, I got you in charge of getting South Dakota on board, and I'll shoot up north, and I'll take care of Maine and Vermont for us. So
There's like 3 people in South Dakota anyway, so.
Yeah, one of them's got to be a Wheel of Time fan. Laura,
you're closer to South Dakota than I am. I know Maine and Vermont, that's more my turf, so.
I'll be honest, we're hitting numbers faster than we hit in RPG Golden Years.
God, yeah. I mean, our biggest episode of RPG Golden Years, which happened to feature Rob.
Hello.
Hello. That only got that's got less than half of what our pilot episodes got for this episode for this podcast. I guess people are just more into the Wheel of Time than they are into really old, crappy RPGs, Rich.
Yeah. You know what? We'll just scrap the whole thing. We'll just go wild with that show.
Nah, it's still a project I want to
I'm kidding.
Deal with till I die.
If it wasn't for you guys, I never would have heard of the exploits of Alan in Final Twin Lap.
Oh my God!
How dare you speak that name?
How dare! How dare!
The devil himself, Guy Sean. I've named the Dark One, and his name is Alan.
You have. I'm sorry, but I find that more I find the name Alan more terrifying than I do the name Shaitan. Damn you, Shaitan! Damn you, Alan!
I name you.
God, yeah. If anyone wants to play a game called Final Lap Twin, which you won't, it's a fairly short, enjoyable game until you get to the last boss, Alan, who is the most difficult boss in any game I've ever faced, ever. And yeah. And I have two podcasts where I play games, and one where I read a lovely book called The Wheel of Time. Oh man, Alan, God, I'm getting PTSD. Can someone take over for a minute?
Uh-oh. Well, I can, and I should have been prepared for this, but we do have iTunes reviews.
Woohoo!
So all this love that we got from Reddit got us new Wheel of Time reviews. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here and access them, so I thought I'd be ready by now. So we have actually 3 new reviews, including our first non-5-star review.
Ah, that's okay though. Did they give constructive criticism?
He did.
Excellent.
So,
That's worth it then.
Well, let me go through the two 5-star ones we have. The first one is from some random gentleman I've never heard of called Troidal Power.
Sounds like a legend.
Yes.
He's currently Guy Shan on our Discord server.
It's called An Excellent Book Club. I've tried to read this series a few times over the years, but having this book club to keep me going might finally help me get through it. So thank you very much, Troy, for the well wishes.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. We have another one from Punk Rock Librarian CO, which I think might stand for Colorado. So Punk Rock Librarian Colorado says, nice summaries and insights. I just started reading The Wheel of Time a few months ago and have been looking for a podcast with which to geek out. This is the third I've tried and the first that's any good. Keep it up. I'm loving it.
They like us.
They really, really like us. So
well, that's really nice to hear. So yeah,
it is. I know. I mean, I love hearing that stuff. So
because I've listened to some of the other podcasts and they're pretty good, to be honest with you. So
they are.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with that comment. Thank you very much, Punk Rock CEO. Was it
Punk Rock Librarian?
Punk Rock Librarian CEO. You legend.
Yep. So our third is from, now I want to spell it first, BLCKNCK. So I'm assuming that might be Black Nick. So It says here, title, the book series appears to be over, and bear with me, this one's a little more lengthy. It says, I'm reading the Wheel of Time series for the first time, only about a third of the way through the first book when I discovered this podcast. I love the idea of being a fly on the wall of a book club, since the series is older and not a lot of online discussions. I've seen of the book in this straightforward read-through way. I enjoy the personalities behind the podcast and hearing them talk through the chapters. However, I do have a couple critiques. The sound quality isn't great. I'll bring that up after we're done. It is apparent each host is using wildly different equipment. That is an absolute true statement.
Yep. I think Rich is the only one with decent equipment.
I don't have equipment, so that's one thing. The second criticism is in regards to the content. To me, as a listener, I feel like the hosts just kind of riff off for an hour with loose structure of what they're going to discuss. Usually this is fine, but so far reading a chapter at a time comes off as a bit tedious. I listened to a couple other literary podcasts, The Losers Club, a Stephen King podcast, and I Don't Even Own a TV. And while those podcasts are very conversational as well, they're also very structured so that the hosts know what topics they need to cover and can take notes when reading based on the structure of their podcast. Having said that, keep up the good work so far, and I look forward to hearing more in the future. I do hope it's not one chapter a week forever. I think the slow build-up for the first few chapters is great to ease the listener-reader into this world, but I really look forward to covering more ground in fewer episodes at some point in the future. Keep up the good work, guys. So thank you, Black Nick, for your rate and review and your critiques. If you didn't know, outside of the one episode for our Peggy that Bill mentioned earlier, our pilot was my very, very first foray into the world of podcasting. I literally have no equipment. Currently I have earbuds on and I'm talking at my computer. That's my setup. So yes, you are correct. We have wildly different setups. Hopefully I'll be fixing that in the next few weeks. Did receive some Father's Day gift cards. Might be using that to get myself a microphone. So yeah, I agree with you on that point 100%.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I do try and make the quality as good as possible, but I mean, we are all miles apart from each other.
Yeah,
so
you know that we're like really far apart from each other.
Should be obvious.
Even the two Americans, yes.
So I mean, yeah, so Rich has a fairly decent mic, and you've got a little pop filter on it as well, which is why generally Rich's audio sort of comes out the clearest. Yeah, as Rob just said, he's got just a pair of old earbuds on because we kind of just threw it out in one day. We'd all been discussing the fact we wanted to do it, and then when the hype around the TV show started picking up, we were like, "Come on, let's do this, guys!" And then I just contacted Rob and said, "Hey, want to do the pilot tomorrow?"
Yeah, let's go tomorrow. Okay, go.
I think you recorded that first on your phone as well, didn't you?
I think I was sitting on my sofa with phone in hand. Yes.
So yeah, we are going to we will be improving the quality. And for myself, due to time zone restrictions, I end up doing most of this on my lunch break at work. So my setup is, I've probably got the most expensive setup, but mine's very portable. So mine probably won't ever get any better than what you're hearing now, unfortunately. Because I can't, those Blue Yeti mics are very big. I can't exactly cart one around work all day with it. Because
no, your quality's pretty good.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna send you guys a picture of what I got.
I've got a very expensive headset. It's like £300, but it's one.
What's $400 in the US?
Yeah, it's about $350, I think.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is what he talked about, by the way. He said, we're not very structured. And
here we go. We've gone completely off tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm going to tweet out pictures of my notebook. I actually have a notebook, and I bought it specifically for this podcast. And I have it filling up now with notes I take through. So I try to keep this on point. Yeah. And I will tweet out the pictures of my book to prove it.
Well, Rob, you're in charge of this.
We are working with a very excitable young, like I said before, an excited puppy. Trying to wrangle Bill sometimes.
I've normally had my third coffee by the time we start this podcast. So anyway, speaking of being unstructured, what's next, Rob?
Well,
You've got the outline.
A couple quick shout outs to other Redditors who have given positive feedback. As we mentioned last week, we had an amazing response to Reddit. And I just want to give a couple shout outs to a couple Redditors for their well wishes. Renofmer, Izaran, Fuzzy Code, and the aforementioned Biggins 1610, who has joined our Discord. Thanks a lot, guys. Yep, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, again, join our Discord, join the conversation. It's getting. I love Discord. I just love chatting to people about stuff. What's next, Rob? Have we got some news?
Am I the only one with the outline?
No, I've got it here. I just feel like you're the compare. Is that right?
No, you got it right this time. Last time Richie called me the au pair, which is the nanny. Yes.
I think au pair's better. Let's call you the Wheel of Time au pair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
And me and Richie are kids, and you've got to whip us into shape.
Yep. So originally leaked about a few days ago by a Turkish Twitter account, but now in the last 24 hours has come to light as fact. We have our first official casting of the Wheel of Time Amazon TV show.
Woo!
Rosamund Pike has been given the role of Moiraine Damodred, Aes Sedai of the Blue Aja. I am a big fan. I personally am a big fan of this role, of this casting. What was that?
Spoilers.
Oh, what? That there's
People don't know she's in a jar.
oh,
People don't know she's left the door ajar.
all right.
Oh, that was a terrible pun. Sorry. I'm going to balefire that one. Go on, carry on.
So I'm a big fan of this casting. She's been in a couple things, but her role in Gone Girl was the one that got her the most accolades. I remember going to see that movie with my wife. Ben Affleck, pretty much a shit as he normally is in most roles he does, but
I hate Ben Affleck.
Oh, I love Ben Affleck.
You would.
I would.
You would.
I love Ben Affleck and I hate Paul Rudd.
What?
That's the response I always get. Yeah, Paul Rudd's a dick.
Paul Rudd's a
Shut
better
your mouth.
Batman than Ben Affleck could ever be.
Well, yeah, that's not hard. But
Anyway.
he'll never be as good as a Phantom as Ben Affleck would be.
Anyway, back on point.
I'm hoping Ben Affleck will get the job as Lan now.
Shut your mouth.
Oh my God. All right. Back on point again. Have you guys seen Gone Girl?
No.
No, but I have seen a movie that she did a really good job in. You know, the really awesome movie called Doom.
She was in Doom.
Yes.
I'm not so keen about this now.
Go watch Gone Girl. I'm gonna. She was really, really good at it. I never heard of her. And watched that movie, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Well, if she was, that's good then. If she was in Doom, that means maybe The Rock will play Lan.
Hang on, let me double check this. 'Cause I'm pretty sure she was.
Oh, here we go.
One thing that she was able to do in this role, and that Moiraine has, at least that we know of in the chapters that we're reading, she could be both caring and menacing at the same time. Because I just came up on a chapter where she was very much like, I will do anything in my power to keep the Dark One from getting you. If I got to kill you myself, I'll kill you myself before I let the Dark One have you. You know, very big. And she said it so matter of fact and menacingly. Rosamund is perfect for that kind of role where she can balance those kind of faces at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was in Doom, by the way.
She was. Wow. Yeah.
Doom
so,
Girl, huh?
So here we go. My official prediction is that The Rock's going to be Lan. or Perrin. I think he's got the shoulders to be Perrin.
That's an older parent.
Yeah, they can use CGI to make him look younger. That's fine.
You smell what the land is cooking.
Can you smell what Arabara?
Oh man. Okay. So thanks to Rafe for the awesome casting, and thanks to hashtag Wheel of Time Wednesdays, which I think is where it broke. So.
Well,
shout out to
actually,
those guys.
Wheel of Time Wednesdays were the one who broke the news, but it was good old Nog, the smartest Trolloc of them all, over at the Daily Trolloc. He was the one who broke the news about the Turkish Twitter account that had discovered this casting. I think after that news broke, that kind of was just like, quick, let's get a picture of that woman holding the book.
Well, I thought the picture of her holding the book was the actual casting announcement.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. But I think it broke on. I think it was obviously the rumor broke on Twitter.
The first rumor mills came from Narg, and then a YouTuber called Nablus, I think, kind of also picked up on it too. So
yeah,
it was
really big on the Wheel of Time community.
Yes. So it was like, there's a rumor, but it's from a Turkish Twitter account. So
yeah,
take that with a grain of salt. So
And so, but I think after the rumors started, and they were just like, okay, let's announce it. And then they just like, quick, someone get a picture of of Gone Girl holding that book. But yeah, I think she looks really good as Moraine. It's one of those things where sometimes I read a character description and then I just invent something in my head because I always imagine Moraine having darker hair.
Okay.
So, but I think,
mean,
and I also imagine Moraine being quite short, but I don't think that will really matter as long as whoever they cast as Lan is like
I don't think it matters either.
absolute beastly tall.
I mean,
Lan needs to be a big guy.
Well, my thoughts were, instead of, this is not how I picture Moraine, it's Rosamund absolutely has the acting chops to pull off a complex character like Moraine. So.
But yeah, so exciting stuff there, guys.
Rich, your thoughts?
You know, as long as they don't put Ben Affleck anywhere near this, I'll be happy. I swear to God, if I get a whiff of that, someone's like, "Oh, Ben Affleck in the talks," I will fly to London area and find you, Bill.
Oh my God!
Well, Rich, you know how we have a habit of joking about stuff, then it comes true.
I know. That's why I'm very upset with
Discord servers.
Okay, so here's my prediction. Okay, we're gonna have Ben Affleck as Lan, and Paul Rudd's gonna be padding Fame.
I hate you.
I can't wait to get all the Paul Rudd hate. I think I've only ever announced my dislike on a private Discord server for Paul Rudd, and everyone on there was like, "What? How can you dislike Paul Rudd?"
You invoked an MCU name that Rich is not happy.
Oh, I hated him before he was in the MCU.
What?
It was the reason why it's the reason why I gave up on the MCU. I was like, Paul Rudd is that man? Stop this. Although I did watch Spider-Man: Homecoming the other day, and that was awesome.
I like that too.
I was really impressed.
And if we had our way, we'd have Tom Holland as Randall Thor. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I've got news,
Another
guys.
tangent. You guys seen Tom Holland in the Final Fantasy 14 commercial?
That was awesome.
That was great. Have you seen that one, Bill?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I don't pay
I'm going
attention to
off tangent. So we've been about a half an hour, and we haven't even touched the chapter yet.
We need to get started on that.
Apologies.
I know.
Apologies to the guy who said we don't have any structure.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Nick. We stay on point.
Yeah, we stay on point.
Structure.
We just don't follow it.
Our structure is bollocks.
So
anyway,
I think we're on point.
Chapter 8, a place of safety.
A place of safety.
I guess my first note here says Lan comments that he doesn't trust Tom. Sounds like the feeling's mutual. I get a little more jab at the Tom versus Aes Sedai world. Something's brewing there. The reader doesn't quite know, but something's uneasy there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just to set the scene. So Moraine's agreed to help Tam. Is that correct? Correct. Is that where we start off?
Deal with the devil's been made, and I think the scene opens with them getting to Tam.
Yeah. So yeah, Rand made his deal. He said he'll pay any price for his father's safety. So they're in one of the hotel rooms at the Wine Spring Inn, and she's attending to Rand's father. And so Rand and Lan are just kind of sitting there having a little chat. Gossip girls. Gossip girls. Yeah.
So, as Moraine tends to Tam, but from Rand's perspective, it seems all she's doing is staring at him. So,
but she's furrowed her brow with concentration.
Yes, as later we'll realize a whole bunch of crap's going on that the naked eye can't see. But at this moment, Rand's like, she's just staring at him. I thought you were going to help.
Yeah, Moraine's not overly happy.
So, nope. My note I got here is that Lan and Rand are left to shoot the shit. First thing Lan notices is Rand's sword, and that the heron marked swords are very, very uncommon this far south, or in these like kind of backwater lands. Yeah. You don't see a heron branded sword.
Yeah, and Rand points out the fact that his father paid too heavy a price for him.
Yeah. That sparks the whole. I thought he only paid 2 coppers. No, that's
different chapter. But he says, he paid too much for it, and Land's like, yeah, no doubt. And then Land gives him the description of the fact that often heron marked blades are a sign of the sword master. And so we're kind of getting some foreshadowing that maybe there's a lot about Tam that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, that we got that with our wandering in the woods, and am I not your father? That kind of talk.
But there's a lot more foreshadowing going on with it.
Yes. And then I have here, Lan goes to the early league lead in calling Rand a sheep herder during this conversation.
He does.
Do it like 5-6 times.
Did you get an official count?
Well, I did. I for this chapter, no, because he calls him that throughout this first half of the book. So I think where I'm at now, he's already in the double digits.
Excellent. You stupid sheep herder.
Don't know sheep herder. So Moiraine then takes a break to tell Rand that, yeah, indeed, that the Raven from way early in the book is one of the Dark One's minions. He's got eyes and ears everywhere.
Yes, and she thought that she should have had more of an idea of what was going to happen based off of the fact that she saw that Raven and the way it acted.
Yeah, I guess she was cautious, but not cautious enough, I guess, is what she's kind of chiding herself gently, that she should have been a little bit better prepared when she saw the Raven.
Indeed. And is this the point where Rand then mentions that it was thanks to Lan and Moiraine that the village got some pre-warning that they were coming?
Yeah, I think so. If it wasn't for them, all three of the Talleyrand boys might not have made it.
Because I think they, I'm trying to remember which order it came in. Again, I've done my usual thing. I've made notes and I've left it at my desk. So, because I know there's a couple of big conversation points here. There's the one where Rand, they described to Rand about the fact that the Trollocs' attacks were very precise. And they also mentioned the fact that it was a fist of Trollocs. Because I asked you this the other episode, didn't I? About
it wasn't a fist of Trollocs.
Trolloc tactics, and a fist of Trollocs is 100 Trollocs.
Okay.
So Moiraine mentions that during this chapter. She goes, there must have been about 100 of them, a whole fist. So we're not going to get into fisting Trollocs again, but
no.
5.
What was that?
Rich?
I said 5. Yeah, I'm here.
5. What, you're going to fist 5 Trollocs?
Well, yes. The fist. There's 5 fingers of fist.
Five finger death punch. Is that what
my
you're
map checks out. Yeah.
I'm so sensitive. Sorry.
So one of the other things that Moiraine.
That's my 5 finger death punch impression.
Oh my gosh.
I actually quite like 5 finger death punch. But I see the irony.
I don't hate them. I just, some songs are good, some songs aren't.
I just see the irony in it. He's always talking about how sensitive he is, but screaming it. Anyway, yeah. So
does tell Rand that the Dark Rider that he saw was the Myrddraal that Narg was working for.
Yeah, because Rand's really upset with himself because he's like, if I'd have told you about the fact that I'd seen the Dark Rider, would that have given you more of an idea, or would that have been able to give you more warning that they were coming and be better prepared, maybe save more lives? And Moiraine just says no. If I'd have known there was a bloody Myrddraal here and a fistful of Trollocs, I would have bought half a dozen other Aes Sedai with me.
Yeah,
because there's only so much I can do by myself.
Yep. I got also here, Lan probably talks more in this chapter than any other 3 chapters with Lan combined. Quarters aren't normally this chatty, except for their own Aes Sedai.
Yes, and especially Lan.
Yeah, I know. He's
even
more quiet than most. I also got here, Lan shows surprise and a little bit of respect after learning that Rand not only talked to a Trolloc, but killed one by himself.
Yeah. I actually found that quite shocking re-listening to the chapter, because it's just like my impression of Lan is that he's just completely like unshakable. But he mentions, I talked to a Trolloc and then it fell on my sword, and then Lan, like it says, Lan snapped up, just like in surprise. It's like, oh wow,
you talked to a Trolloc.
Just like wow, he's really impressed Lan there.
Well, that's the thing, is like even the slightest little bit from Lan just means the world.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Scene in Return of the Jedi when Boba Fett nods to the other bounty hunter who brought in Chewbacca, just a little nod. But that nod means the world. You got Boba Fett's respect. this is exactly what that scene reminded me of.
And so they tell him all about how the Trolloc attacks were pinpointed as well, because they say that the Trolloc attacks were pinpointed towards Rand, Mat, and Perrin's, basically just their lives. So
also boys of that age. I mean, they didn't know exactly the age, but the first other teenage boy there. Forget the other houses that got attacked.
I think, was it one of the Coplins?
Copland, maybe a Copland house, maybe even a Conger.
Yeah, well, they're the same.
There's a couple of the farms too, I think, that got hit.
Well, it was Perrin's farm. So because they attacked Perrin's farm, they attacked Perrin's place of work, the smithy, which we've always spoken about with Master Luhan. Just basically got a hammer, started killing things. Like, hey, Trolloc, kill it! And then they also attacked Mat's house and they attacked Rand's farm. They did burn a couple of other places in the village, but Moraine points out the fact that they basically set it alight and then just walked off. They weren't trying to kill anything near it, whereas the other places, they were just trying to kill everything coming out from them, because they were trying to go after the boys. And I think at this point, Moraine must have somehow identified the 3 boys from the rest of them as being sort of Targaryen. So although they haven't got to the point where they mention it, but I like to point out facts where he's foreshadowing this sort of stuff. She's identified Rand, Mat, and Perrin as being important. And so I think of that as being parts of the Targaryen and the wheel, the pattern pulling everything together, which I'll get more into in a future episode. Teasers. Yes, because in a couple of chapters' time, Moraine mentions about the pattern a lot and just letting it happen, sort of thing. So so some good stuff coming up about that. So she's obviously realised. Yeah, but she's obviously realised there's something going on with the pattern here, and she's not trying to. She doesn't want to force it. She wants to go with it, sort of thing. But she obviously realises that the 3 boys are the ones.
Just roll with it, baby.
Roll with it, baby.
So my final note says here, Moiraine proposes a plan to get the boys to safety. She recommends that they come with her and land to this magical city called Tar Valon.
The shining white walls.
Yep. Rand agrees, mostly to avoid more attacks at Emond's Field, because obviously if he refuses and stays put with his father, Trolloc and Murder are just going to keep piling on to Emond's Field.
Indeed. So, I feel so bad for Rand at this point as well, because it's just like he's watching Moraine tend to his father. His father's mortally wounded, but he seems to be getting better with like almost every second that passes. And he's just like, and then like before his dad's even awake and better, she's like, "Bah, we're gonna have to bugger off."
so tonight.
So all these feelings with your dad, all these little questions that have popped up, whether you're adopted or not, you're going to have to just put all that to the back of your mind and jump in with me and Lan as we go on a mystical adventure. You can bring your 2 mates.
A stranger. Off we go on this adventure.
Well, remember, Rand signed with the devil. I'll do anything you want, save my dad. She's fulfilling her side of the bargain, and she's like, "All right, you're coming with me, boy. We're going tonight."
On the interesting side of things, though, is that she says you're coming, like you're going to come with us, and he agrees. But but then Rand also then suddenly realizes, oh bugger, she hasn't actually officially. That's not what she's. That's not the price I've got to pay.
Once again,
she hasn't specified yet.
Very mafia of her to do that.
Yeah, she's very clever. She says you got to come with me, but that isn't the price that you're paying. So, and then that basically wraps up the chapter.
Yep.
So they leave him, and they say, Tam's going to be in the care of Egwene's mother, and so forth. And things that I want to mention: Angreal.
Yes.
Moraine whips out a bloody Angreal. Again, this is one of those things where on a reread you're like, oh my god, I forgot she had that fucking thing. It's just like she just whacks it out so early.
Well,
check this bad boy out.
We'll learn that in the world of magical items, I guess what she has is not one of the stronger versions. So as strong as we see it now,
yeah,
there might be bigger items in the future.
She explains that Angreal sort of help people channel more of the one power, as it were. And later on we learn, different Angreals have different power levels, basically. And she mentions as well that the making of Angreals are lost. And then later on we find out about how rare these things are. And it's just like, book chapter 8, he's an Angreal.
To bring it back to video games, it's kind of like she has a Quadra magic materia, right?
Yep, and she's just whipping that bad boy out at the beginning of the game, saying, check this out. I'm going to whack this in the Trollocs' face. But it does also kind of explain how she managed to sort of work with Lan in fighting off the Fist of Trollocs that attacked Emmonsfield. Because, she has a bloody nuclear bomb in her pocket.
She's throwing lightning around like it was nobody's business.
Yeah. So I was very, very impressed with that. You guys got any other comments you want to talk about with the chapter?
It's a good it was a good chapter. It was the info dump, but I mean we're still kind of on the cusp of switching from character building and lore to action. So good transitional chapter. Rich?
Cool. I mean, it's a good one. It sets it up really nicely that you kind of figure out that Rand makes that deal in order to save his dad, and he'll do anything for his family. So I think that's a really good thing. They do talk about bringing the other boys with him as well. Not really figuring out why, but they're just kind of getting scooped up and taken away.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things in the book where we're focusing. Robert Jordan's focusing from Rand's point of view with books, but from the point of view of, say, Moraine, she doesn't know which one of these boys is the most important. She's just worked out that this is who the Murderer and the Trollocs are after.
Yes.
So I want to take all three of these bad boys with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to collect them all. So should we move into? Should we move on into readings with Rob?
Yeah, this for this chapter. I just simply, like I said, the two gossip girls just kind of shooting the breeze while Moraine's doing her business. So little character building between Rand and Lan.
And now, the Ta'veren present to you Readings with Rob.
You can help him, Rand said fervently. I know you can. Moraine smiled, a bare curving of her lips. We shall see. Then she turned back to Tam. One hand she laid on his forehead, the other cupped the ivory figure. Eyes closed, her face took on a look of concentration. She scarcely seemed to breathe. That rider you spoke of, Lan said quietly. The one who made you afraid. That was surely a Myrddraal. A Myrddraal? Rand exclaimed. But Fades are 20 feet tall in... The words faded away under the warder's mirthless grin. Sometimes, sheepherder, stories make things larger than truth. Believe me, the truth is big enough with a Halfman. Halfman, Lurk, Fade, Shadowman. The name depends on the land you're in, but they all mean Myrddraal. Fades are Trolloc spawn, throwbacks almost to the human stock the Dreadlords used to make the Trollocs. Almost. But if the human strain is made stronger, so is the taint that twists the Trollocs. Halfmen have powers of a kind, the sort that stem from the Darkwoon. Only the weakest Aes Sedai would fail to be a match for a Fade, one against one, but many a good man and true has fallen to them. Since the wars that ended the Age of Legends, since the Forsaken were bound, they have been the brain that tells the Trolloc fists where to strike. In the days of the Trolloc Wars, Halfmen led the Trollocs into battle under the Dreadlords. He scared me, Rand said faintly. He just looked at me, and... He shivered. No need for shame, sheepherder. They scare me too. I've seen men who have been soldiers all their lives freeze like a bird facing a snake when they are confronted a half-man. In the north, in the borderlands along the Great Blight, there is a saying, the luck of the eyeless is fear. The eyeless? Rand said, laconic. Mergers see like being in darkness or in light, but they have no eyes. I can think of a few things more dangerous than placing mergers. Moiraine said I tried to kill the one that was so and we failed every time. Nothing like that, the darkness, only dark. Rand swallowed. The Trolloc said the Murdval wanted to talk to me. I didn't know what it meant. Lan's head jerked up. His eyes were blue stones. You talked to a Trolloc? Not exactly, Rand stammered. The water's gaze held him like a trap. It talked to me. It said it wouldn't hurt me, that the Murdval wanted to talk to me. Then it tried to kill me. He licked his lips and rubbed his hand along the knobby leather of the sword hilt. In short, choppy sentences, he explained the returning to the farmhouse. I killed it instead, he finished. By accident, really. It jumped at me, and I had a sword in my hand. Lan's face softened slightly, if rock could be said to soften. Even so, that is something to speak of, sheepherder. Until last night there were few men south of the borderlands who could say they have seen a Trolloc, much less killed one. And fewer still who have slain a Trolloc alone and unaided, Moiraine said wearily. It is done, Rand. Lan, help me up.
That was Readings with Rob. If there's a passage in an upcoming chapter you wish to have read on the podcast, simply tweet us at TarVirenPod with your request.
And that was Readings with Rob. Nice bit of character building there.
Yep.
So I want to give a shout out to the Gamote, or the Gmote,
Yes.
who's one of the guys on our Discord server. And he's basically doing a chapter by chapter, sort of just like a couple of short paragraphs on what he thinks of the chapters. And so I'd really like to read these out each week as we go along. So even if I'm not on the episode, I'll do a quick reading from the Gamotes.
Thoughts of the Gamote.
Thoughts of the Gamote. So he says, okay, first off, poor Rand. I think we can all agree with that.
Yes.
He has so much thrown at him so quickly, and then it's just iced on by Moiraine and Lan in this outing. There's more world building by exposition and storytelling. The master hard at work by showing us he's not working at all. I'm glad Moiraine healed Tam, and that what would we do without him? But he's got a spoiler bit here, which I've read. I'm not going to read it out now. He says, also, I love how women are represented in this series, and I agree with you here. I think there's a lot of talk about sexism in the Wheel of Time, but I think Robert Jordan's equally sexist to both sex. So yeah, he says, I also love how women are represented in this series, but it's nice to see where Egwene gets it from her mother, where she puts Lan in his place. So I think we missed that bit in our notes. But yeah, Egwene's mother comes in. Lan sort of says something to her. She basically tells him to sit down and shut up. I'm a woman. I'm going to put some food here. All the while, Moiraine is just like, it's cool, Daddy-o. Let the ladies be ladies. I think the fun thing about this chapter is finding out how special Perrin, Mat, and Rand may be. We also don't see it, but yeah, Tom is a badass. Singed coat and all. Yes, so they mentioned, someone mentioned during the chapter that they didn't see where Tom was, and then the mayor says, well, he didn't singe his coat by doing nothing. So his poor Gleeman's coat, which he looks after, has been a bit singed in a fire somewhere. The mysteries of the Gleeman brings me joy. But to hear it all laid out in front of Rand, we really don't know where we're getting into. And Rand, you can tell your father anything.
Yeah, that little bit hits home.
And that's thoughts from the Gamote. I'm going to have to find out how he wants that pronounced.
Gmote.
Gmote, yeah. Gmote. Woo!
So Bill, correct me if I'm wrong. You want to take the reins one chapter with your own passage reading. Is that correct?
I do at some point. I think I'm definitely going to have to do the reading, not the readings with Rob for chapter 9, but I'm definitely going to tag on to the end of the episode, maybe me going through Moraine's speech that she gives in the next chapter. Oh, I'm so excited for the next chapter. But yeah, I think I randomly threw at you chapter 16. Not that there's anything particular in chapter 16 I want to do, but I just thought I'll pick one at random that's a couple of weeks away.
And what's the take on readings with Rich?
I don't know how to read, so.
And you're having a book club podcast.
I'm learning to read as we do this. Okay. I don't care. Wherever you guys want to put me in as reading with Rich, it's fine.
Work on your voice acting chops.
Rich is
true.
Rich is super cute dogs teaching him to read.
That's true.
He's little wiener dog.
Yeah.
Sausage dog, as we say over here in the UK.
Sausage, wiener, schnitzels, whatever. They all work.
They all work.
So next week, guys, we have Chapter 9, Tellings of the Wheel. No, not the Showcase Showdown with Bob Barker and The Price is Right.
But that will be our thumbnail.
That will be. Showcase Showdown, that's my generation. Bob Barker and The Price is Right. I grew up on that shit. But instead, we get a history lesson on the Two Rivers given by none other than Rosamund Pike herself.
Awesome.
So yeah, we get our history lesson. And that's next week. Guys, if you haven't already, give us some love. Rate and review the podcast. It shows us areas that we can improve. Thank you, Nick, for your comments, because we definitely will take those to heart and work with them going forward. Helps us get more exposure. So get us more exposure to get more people into the community talking about this great book series.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say Twitter at Tarvarian Pod, and you can join our Discord channel as well, where we'll have links below in the description.
We're pointing at the links below. We're literally pointing at them right now.
Yeah, I'm pointing downwards, despite the fact no one can see me.
I'm just kind of pointing anywhere because it doesn't matter.
Links above. Below.
Links
in
the aether.
Yes, links in the Wolf Dream. There are links in the Wolf Dream below.
Teleranriad. Find us there.
Yes. Oh God, you're going to have to teach me how to say that properly.
I will say I was almost going to redo it. I did mispronounce the name of the highest rank of Aes Sedai. What's that called? I think I mispronounced it, but I'm going to leave it in there. See if test me.
I definitely won't get it. But yeah, I think that Teleandriod or whatever it was. I don't think I ever once. Even when I was reading the book for the first time, I think every time that word popped up, I literally felt like I was stuttering in my head as I read it. It's like, what the hell is this supposed to say?
And as we enter
Cool. Okay, guys. So thank you for listening this week. If you do want to hear more of us, you can find myself and Rich over at RPG Golden Years. I also have another podcast called The Audio Only Experience, experience spelled XP, where I'm playing a weird space pervert simulator by Hideo Kojima.
I've heard that podcast. That's amazing. That stuff actually made it to market.
I know. Literally, the only reason I picked up the game was because it said Hideo Kojima, and it was like a fan translated thing. So it'd never been released officially in English. And I was like, wow, it's Hideo Kojima. This game must be amazing. And it's just, oh my god.
For those who don't know, Hideo Kojima is the brainchild between Metal Gear Solid and the upcoming Death Stranding game.
Yeah, he made those games. And do you know what? When you think back to Metal Gear Solid, there's actually quite a few little pervy moments in there as well. And then it's just like now I'm playing Police Noughts. It's just like, oh, this all makes sense.
I know.
But yes,
I have a podcast that I'm starting. It's called Mario Talk with Alex and Anthony, where I go through Nintendo Mario games with my son and my nephew. Still only a pilot out there, but we're getting rolling. So
there's plenty of content if you want to listen to us ramble on more and more about stuff without any sort of structure. And also, I want to give a shout out to Troy gave us a nice iTunes review, and I think if you want to check out Troy's podcast, he has a podcast called The Best Animated Shows So Far Ever. I think is the title. He likes long titles for his podcast. But he basically, you can nominate any any cartoon TV show you want via their Twitter, and they end up voting on one each time. Then I'll watch the first 3 episodes and have a chat about it. And it's a really good podcast. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I want to give a big shout out.
Great stuff.
But that's been it. I've got nothing else to say. I'm going to the Wine Spring Inn for a pint.
Rich, you coming along?
Yeah, might as well. I'm thirsty.
All right.
Hang on, he's booked my room out. There's some sick bloke in there.
Oh, God.
I'm going to have to get a cab home, guys.
Take care, guys.
Rich, can I borrow some money for a cab?
Sure.
Uber. Hey, can we get Uber in the Emmons Field? They got Uber down there?
Yeah, it's on a donkey.
The Uber donkey.
That's Bella. You stop talking about Bella like that. She is a noble steed.
Hey, don't talk about Bella like that. Right, you two. I'll see you both at the Wine Spring Inn.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Thank you for listening. If you want to continue the conversation, tap into the One Power and contact us on Twitter at TavirenPod. You can also contact Bill at Matunica and Rich at HaleBlue1569. You can also reach Rob at his website, digging, D-I-G-G-I-N, diggingdeepsports.com. And, as always, we will see you at the Wine Spring Inn. Here's to another great podcast, gentlemen. Cheers! Ah, damn it, Bill, not again! Brad, can you get another round of pints for me and the boys? Yes, again. No, Bill this time. Thank you, Brad, much appreciated. Now, where were we, men? Actually, I believe it's Rich's turn at the Stones table. What's that you say? No, I don't think old Set will have that ready.
Bunny.
That bunny girl, man.
I would
Never cut you for a furry, Rich.
I'm not, but like, if you just take those ears off, I'm fine.
Cool.
Might not like that.
Yeah.
My name's Tyler, and I host the podcast Too Young for This Hit, where I watch movies I've never seen before with guests who love them. So what kind of movies do we watch? We watch mostly like classics movies, like
Escape from New York,
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
Alien,
Wayne's World, party time, excellent,
Aliens,
Smokey and the Bandits,
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
In addition to talking about movies, we also talk about cats. A lot. For pretty much no reason. You can find Too Young for This Hit and tons of other great podcasts at probablywork.com. This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
At Probably Work for more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.